The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PNS.
Pearson-All.
PS, right, exactly. I'm stumbling over this.
It's okay.
What do I call myself? The PS&All Marketing Group.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
And you're human.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
This is season number 2, show number 13, and it is happening right now. I'm excited to bring you another great season with my network of very knowledgeable contributors. We will continue to keep it real, hot and timely, South Shore and Cape and Islands based, North Shore reference, but definitely full of Paul pondering thoughts. And a quick shout out to Brother David Boyle for doing a great job filling in for me last week. There was a death in my family, and David filled in, and he had Chris Perry as an in-studio guest, and it worked out really well. I heard the replay, and David Boyle, you just absolutely nailed it. Look forward to having you back when I have that Bruins alumni game coming up, I believe, on April 18th. So thanks again, Brother David and Chris Perry. You both did a great job. Now, as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as general manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. A huge shout out to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app. So hello to Chef Felipe. Hi there. And as always, we have lots of activity going on today at Pearl Street Station with a few reservations. I know that I always say it, but it is true. As Malden's longest running restaurant of 40 plus years, we have incredible staying power in the greater Boston area and the North Shore. Please venture over the Zakin Bridge and visit us. Now, Chef Felipe, those delicious sweet and spicy scallops that you made last night were absolutely awesome. You had the right amount of zest and it had some zip. It's that sweet and spicy recipe that you have with those scallops. Just absolutely wonderful. Complement that with your delicious rice pilaf that has that chicken soup base. Oh, so good. I think I may be getting, maybe I'll have the prime rib tonight with the red bliss potatoes. May have that. But anyways, and a huge shout out to my team of Chef Felipe, Chef Joaquin, Pizziola Moose, John, Jen, Nicole, and Dennis for holding down the fort on this very busy day. And as I stated earlier, it is season number 2, show number 13, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of the Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is my executive consultant of the Paul Ponders radio show. And Arthur is out there adding to our list of sponsors. We'll hopefully be picking up 1 or 2 more sponsors along the way, but I really thank our current sponsors for their support. And also another shout out to David Boyle for doing a great job last week. And also a shout out to one of our new listeners. Her name is Laurie from Brookline. She'll be having a birthday celebration over at Pearl Street Station tomorrow after her daughter's questing experience at Bodeborg. Her daughter Maddie has a birthday, and about 15 to 20 people are going to be coming over and having a wonderful time over at Pearl Street. And if you haven't had a chance to check out Bodeborg in Malden, it's the old Sparks department store. If you're from the Malden area and you went to Sparks when you were younger, it's really a great questing experience, and we do a lot of work with the people from Bodeborg, so you may want to give Chad or Trish a call over there and book your questing experience. And with us behind the glass is Tim.
Hi, Paul.
How are you?
I'm great. Good afternoon.
Motoring along, aren't we?
Yes, motoring along and missing the nice weather in Punta Cana, Puerto Rico. I mean, excuse me, Dominican Republic.
That's right, it's DR. And
Yes.
you were there.
I was there. Oh, it was really nice.
I know I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, so we have a lot to catch up on, but
Yeah.
you had a fun time there?
Oh, it was great. We're going back next year.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow. No, is Pedro sitting under a mango tree looking, just sitting, pondering?
I think so. I haven't.
It's a Pedro Ponders type thing, right?
Yes. I haven't met Pedro, but yes, I saw him under the tree with a coconut and drinking, and yeah.
I always remember that. We're talking about Pedro Martinez from the Red Sox, and he had made that comment, right, about retirement when he was growing up, just sitting under the mango tree.
There you go. I speaking of him, on a light pole going back to the airport, someone painted a little mural of Dominican Republic sports stars here in the country, and on it was Pedro and, of course, Big Papi too.
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed.
It's cool.
One of our drivers for a local beer company comes in every other week, and he looks just like David Ortiz.
Oh, no kidding!
And it's uncanny. Wow. And he says, "Do you know how many people tell me that?"
Yeah.
It's really uncanny. The same size, build, and all, and it's really funny.
Well,
but,
if he's in a movie and they need a stunt double, I think they know who to call.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, really uncanny. Really is. But it's good to have you back, and it seems like you brought some of that warm weather from down there up here.
Yeah, a little bit. I wish it was more, but hey, something's better than nothing. Right?
Absolutely, without a doubt. What's happening on the NASCAR scene? Anything we should know?
Trucks are off this week. Last weekend, trucks were in St. Petersburg, Florida, sharing a track with I think it was either F1 or the IndyCar series. Mm-hmm. That was a great race, and O'Reilly and Cup were at the Coda course in Austin, Texas. This weekend, O'Reilly and Cup are in Phoenix.
Okay.
Yes, and Cup Series is on the track right now practicing before qualifying.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about Indy? When does all that hoopla start?
That's going on, too. In fact, it's a doubleheader later today. I think it's Indy at 3, and then O'Reilly's tonight, 7:30.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing what a wealth of knowledge you have. And, of course, I try to listen as much as I can to Miles on Motorsports on Wednesday, and you just do a great job there.
Thank you.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Well, Tim behind the glass, you keep up the great work.
I have to. Thank you.
Indeed. You're doing a great job with Tom's Connections from Bon Air.
Yeah, well, he's doing a great job, too. It's, I can only do so much here. I can't tweak an antenna to align the satellite or whatever.
Right, exactly, right. But we have tinfoil in the back closet, so if you want to put some tinfoil in the rabbit ears we have in the studio.
Yeah, and some duct tape, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, with all the great renovations they've been doing here in the broadcast house, and it really looks awesome. The crew is doing a great job.
Yeah.
And really, it looks just so dynamic.
Yeah. It's amazing what a little paint will do.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Indeed.
Yes.
Well, at this point of the segment of the program, we have the Pod Pro Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Ms. Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment, Vice President of Technology and Literacy for Pod Pro, a past Paul Ponders podcast guest, episode number 35. And it's Shelley Wolf on the line. Shelley, are you there?
Hey.
Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
It's going well, thanks. How are you this fine day?
It is going well. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Shelley, you are such a vibrant part of this program, and I just continue to get incredible reviews when I do the postings on my PS&All Marketing Group blog. I get a lot of feedback and really just keep those cards and letters coming. And people are also liking the Myth of the Week, too, which was a nice feature you added for the second season. So thank you for that, and looking forward to, I'm assuming you're in Massachusetts today. You're not in San Francisco anymore, right?
No, I'm back here in the lovely cold again.
There you go. I love it. Well, welcome back, Shelley, and look forward to hearing your techie tips for this week, please.
Great. Well, today we're going to talk about understanding our privacy on our devices, because over the last few weeks I've been getting tons of thoughtful questions from listeners and hosts about how our devices are used every day, but how not only that, but how people are asking questions like, are my texts safe on different devices? If I'm managing a health condition, should I put alerts on my work phone? Where does privacy actually live when using technology for work, communication, or even our health? These are all great questions because today's phones and computers hold so much of our lives, our messages, our photos, our medical reminders, or even our personal stories and memories. At the same time, many of these devices don't fully belong to us, like our work phones or our work computers. So today's tech tip is about understanding the balance between convenience and privacy, what information should live on personal devices, and what might be better kept off work devices, how we think about ownership, or the information we store and share through our technology. So who owns the device? The first thing we need to understand is really about ownership. If your employer gives you a phone or a laptop, tablet, any sort of device, the company will usually own that device. They also manage that software that's on it. So what that often means is that the organization is able to monitor installed apps, manage security settings, access company emails and messages remotely, even erase the device if it's lost. What it doesn't mean is that someone is constantly watching your screen, but the possibility exists because the device is part of a workforce and workplace system. Think of it like a company vehicle. It's meant primarily for work purposes. And in all honesty, the one thing they don't tell you is actually most of them have a tracking device on it as well. And that goes to example, if your car is idling, they're actually monitoring that. So I know for different security jobs and stuff like that, if they give you a car, they're actually monitoring what you're doing. So one thing that I want to that is also useful and we want to be careful of is if we are reviewing our personal emails at work. Now Google, for example, on the Google software that we're using to get out to the world, it'll ask you to create a profile. So if you're reviewing your personal emails at work under a work profile, for example, the one thing you want to think about is what are your settings set to for syncing? Because a lot of times if you're syncing in with your passwords or different websites that, let's say you think your employers, you don't want them to see you're going to, they're still seeing you're going to that. So those are just little things that we want to keep in mind. So what should stay on our personal phones? Because of that, there are certain things that are best kept to our personal devices, such as your banking apps, personal emails, family photos, social media accounts, private conversations, health tracking apps. This brings us back to the question about health notifications. Let's say you have a diabetes or heart monitoring apps or medication alerts. Those tools contain personal medical information and in most cases are best kept on your personal devices. This is where you get to control your privacy settings. But what about those texts? Another common question is many people assume text messages are private. But again, on work devices, messages can sometimes be archived, backed up, and are accessible through the company's systems. That means personal conversations may not always be as private as you think they are. So when that work happens, it is, again, best suited to keep your family and personal information on your personal devices so that your conversations stay personal to you and it's in a better place. What I mean, and we can even look at this from a politics standpoint. We've seen emails, texts, photos. They can all be used in the court of law on a work device. So again, which leads us to the tech myth of the week. If I delete something from my phone, is it gone forever? Many companies maintain those backups, archives of communications for security or legal reasons. Deleting something from a screen does not always remove it from a system. That is why it's helpful to treat your work devices as professional spaces only. Finding that healthy balance between technology gets blurred so many times because, again, it's such a part of our daily lives from work to personal. But one rule of thumb is simple. Work devices are for work and personal devices are for personal life. That means keep your personal apps on your personal phone, log out of personal accounts if you are going to log into them at work, store family photos on personal devices, keep health monitoring apps private. This protects your privacy, also respecting the workplace policies. So that quick checklist is know who owns the device that you're going to be using, use your work phones primarily for work communication, keep personal health apps and on your personal devices, avoid storing private photos or documents on company devices, and also understand your company's technology policies. It's really important. I think so many times, we're here onboarding people and we're not talking about the technology policies that we as organizations put in place. So this week, take a moment to think about the devices you use every single day. Ask yourself, which one belongs to work? Which one belongs to me? a little awareness about this information lives on and goes a long way towards protecting your own personal privacy. So with that today, I hope that you find some time to understand what tools you're using and how to use them more wisely. And we're so grateful to hand off these tips to you.
That is absolutely fabulous, Shelley. Now, I just have a quick question regarding that text myth of the week about the deleting a data. You said forever, so that doesn't mean that it really ties in and goes hand in hand with, like, say, keeping personal records for like 7 years before you really could discard them. It really means forever and a day, right?
Yeah, it really means forever. I mean, again, right, like storage is kind of unlimited right now. Businesses pay for storage. So, yeah, physical paperwork, right, you can save for 7 years, 15 years for certain different pieces of paperwork. But the reality is that most companies are archiving this stuff for as long as they possibly can. And, you know, again, they may have retention policies, but let's say an employee leaves, they still, most places have an employee policy where they archive that. So if they ever get caught in a lawsuit, they can go back and pull or look at information that was on your computer and on your devices through your emails and all of that. So that's all archived these days.
Wow. Unbelievable. I think back to 1984. George Orwell and all those things. I think of the Space Odyssey, all those books we read when we were younger. Well, I'm much older than you, but all those, like, wow, yeah, that will never happen, right? Never.
You know, George Orwell, Nostradamus, all of them seem to have it right.
Yeah, exactly. So how do our listeners in Paul Ponders land contact you?
Yeah, they can reach us at info@podproentertainment.com.
That's great. And also, congratulations on all that content, all those content reels you are getting out there. Amazing.
Thank you. Well, again, shout out to Techie Tralonzo because he just stays busy generating content after content. So for him, I'm glad we have another person on the back end helping us with all these other amazing tools that we're putting out and giving to the community, and again, you doing the blog, I appreciate that. And again, we appreciate the viewers and the listeners because, again, we're getting such great feedback on all of this. And it's just, you know, the more we can give folks tech tips and provide great information to help them stay safe out there in a world that's constantly tech oversaturated. Today was just reading about a new AI device that's going to be our butlers in our home. So I'm very curious what that is about, but I think that's already here, and it already sits with our phones. So it's going to be very interesting as we move into the world of robots now. So. Wow.
Well, we could always just blame. We could now accuse them and say the butler did it, right?
The butler did it, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Shelley Wolf, Pod Pro Entertainment. Pod Pro, I guess, not just Pod Pro Entertainment, but Pod Pro. I want to thank you again for being on with us, and looking forward to next week, my friend.
Same. Have a great show.
#Indeed.
And #Imagine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts, it's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you tried Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email Mike at northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. The call-in number is 781-837-4900, and you could also text us at that same number. It's 781-837-4900, and you could also find us on the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. And if you're like my daughter Ann in California, and Ann is actually visiting Massachusetts, so we had an opportunity to spend some time with Ann the other night and her wife Sarah, and Sarah is going to be listening on the Odyssey app as well. So please, if you haven't already downloaded the Odyssey app, you could really find some great radio stations, with WATD being at the top of the list. And a shout out to those nonprofits out there. Please reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com, and just shoot me an email, text me. Just let me know if you want to be on the Paul Ponders podcast, if you want to be on the show, or if you just want to get mentioned. And I really do want to hear from those nonprofits. And also, too, I just posted something on the Pearl Street Station website regarding March Madness pool for entertainment purposes only, for the entertainment of winning some Pearl Street Station gift cards. But there is a $20 donation to the Malden Warming Center, and hopefully we'll have a lot of people signing up. So if you're into March Madness and you want to just log in and just have some fun during March Madness. You could also venture up over the Zakin Bridge and have those 75-cent wings we'll be offering during March Madness. So that should work out well as well. So listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders on WATD shows. Now, this Sunday night at midnight, we have Scott Albertson and Bob Hilberg with the Jazz Brunch podcast, and we did a recording a couple of weeks ago or so, and you're going to love this episode. It has a surprise ending. I won't give it away, but it really takes the cake, if you will. But anyways, Scott Albertson is going to be at Pearl Street with the Jazz Brunch. I have a flyer in front of me, April 19, 12 to 3. And he'll be with John Babone. This is a reschedule from a few weeks ago, actually about a month or so ago now, with that blizzard of 2026 we had. And it's one of those things that Scott and John just do a fabulous job. We have Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick with his wonderful brunch items, rolling out that apple calzone. That's going to be really great. And it should be a really fun day. And Bob Hilberg is going to be there as well. And Bob, as you've probably heard on past segments, we have Bob has been raising money, looking back at Medford history, for the Sarah Bradley Fulton statue. Sarah Bradley Fulton was, in fact, the mother of the Boston Tea Party, if you will, and she really just did a great job as an American patriot. And on Patriots Day, I guess there's a statue that's going to be unveiled in Medford, and they're finalizing the fundraising. And what Scott and John and Bob are doing are just creating a very nice community event, and it's going to work out really well. So that's April 19th, 12 to 3 at Pearl Street Station Restaurant. And then later on in the week, on April 23rd, we have Gordon Michaels, and it's a birthday celebration. And Gordon Michaels has performed at Pearl Street a few times. He's performed many times on the South Shore. In the tone, in the feel of this wonderful concert is going to be, I'm 62, this is what I do, things I love to sing. So that's Gordon Michaels with Michael Larson on piano, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So please log in to GordonMichaels.com and purchase your tickets as an early bird special. And I believe doors open at 6:30, and the show is at 7:30. And you'll also be able to make reservations for either before or after the show at Pearl Street Station Restaurant. And a quick shout out on an event that I'm doing with the Boston Bruins alumni and the Boston Strong All-Stars from Revere. That's coming up April 18th, and that's going to be a lot of fun. That's at the Ruzioni Rink, and should be really good. So let me see. We usually, at this point, is this Paul Crowley or Paul C. Sweat? Paul Crowley? Oh, we're appalled.
Stand by. I will get you the correct Paul.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
yes.
Bye.
So here's what happens when Paul Crowley will be with you later, but Paul C. Swerter, we are calling you, so hang tight. This is where when you have three Pauls on one program, this is we're all appalled here. But anyways, it's Paul cubed. But it's one of those things. I'll just fast forward to the Boston Bruins event. The Boston Bruins Alumni Association is a great organization, and it looks like we do have Paul C. Sweater back on the line. But if you have a chance to follow the Boston Bruins Foundation and the Boston Bruins Alumni Association, please venture out to the Larson Rink Ruzioni Center in Winthrop. And it looks like we have the correct Paul on the line. So at this part of the program, we usually have the segment of health and wellness survival tips with Miss Sharon Filia. Sharon is in North Carolina this week, but we do have Paul P.J. C. Swerter on the line talking about the seal in the bathtub. P.J., Paul C. Swerter, are you on the line?
Hey, yes, Pablo. I think we got to, get this straight. PJ is probably the way to go from now on, right?
Absolutely. We're going to go PJ, and our guest in the next segment is Paul Crowley, so we'll have to come up with a name for him. We'll call him Paul Riverworks Credit Union. But we're appalled here, but we are happy to have you on this very momentous weekend. It's been a whirlwind weekend for you, I guess, and if you want to elaborate on that, you can, about the documentary. But really, congratulations on the publication, the launching of The Seal in the Bathtub.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, it's very exciting times, and as you are aware, but maybe your guests and fans aren't, is yesterday was my father's birthday, so it commemorated. Is that a word? No, I screwed that up. But it was a fantastic day that we launched the book that you can, it's a soft launch. We're going to be debuting the book down at Beneath the Sea at Secaucus, New Jersey, but it's a great story of a seal that came home with my father's work, so he brought his work home with him, and we had housed the seal in our home to rehabilitate it, and we made a children's book out of it.
That is absolutely fabulous. So you actually had a real live seal in your bathtub in your home in Malden.
Yes, we did, and
how cool.
It's cool and it's fascinating, but in today's times that is not appropriate. So I just want to put that out there, that this is a very unique story with the time that it happened and the circumstances of got us there. But it did happen. There was a seal in Malden, and it flopped around in our tub in our backyard, and we had some real fun with it. Now we're having fun with it with the seal in the bathtub story that's been sitting on that sink of creativity for like almost 50 years now. It's just coming up to 50 years.
Fabulous. But this isn't just any ordinary seal. This seal has a lineage, right?
Correct. And that's what I'm wanted to have a lot of people understand is Cecil had a love interest with a famous seal, which is Hoover, which he talks, and he has a Wikipedia page and all this. He vocalized, and so Cecil and Hoover mated, and they have offspring in a lineage that there's another seal at the New England Aquarium that vocalizes as well, which is Chakotah. And so it's very interesting on how this all transpired, and now we're having fun with it and celebrating that lineage, along with the lineage of my father's work, with what he's done throughout his life with different aquariums, New York Aquarium and New England Aquarium, and founding Gotham Whale down in New York, and researching, advocating, and educating people on whales.
Absolutely. And your dad also published another book, if I'm not mistaken.
So there's another children's book, which is, he's done several books, and he had a long writing career, and so he did a lot of fact-checking for a bunch of different books like Dr. Seuss, the Kratt Brothers had some books that he was doing some proofwriting, but he did some writing on his own and did Stranded. It's his theory and a lot of his parallels of his work throughout his life that intertwine with the scientist, researching whales, and wrote a novel on that, which is called Stranded. He wrote a book on sharks. He wrote Big Whale, Big City, which is the book just prior to Seal in the Bathtub, which is a story about Jerry the whale, and that Jerry comes to New York to feed on the cuisine, and it's a story about a mother and a calf learning how to navigate the waters of the New York Bight, and then all the way up to Stellwagen Bay.
Interesting. Very interesting. So the Seal in the Bathtub is, it's out there, there's a soft launch and all, but can people pre-order this book somewhere?
That's what we're doing, is we're pre-ordering it. I've got a QR code. I got to get better at that, because a lot of people are asking me, how do I get it? And my social media page, I got to get a link up there. But my friend Scott Albertson made me some flyers, and we've got a QR code that I've been putting up to different bookstores and local establishments around Malden. I met the mayor yesterday, and he's going to be doing, I'm pretty sure he said he would read the book next week to the people at the kids at Linden School. So that was exciting. Yesterday I met Adam Weldi, the principal of Forestdale School, where my son goes, and I'm going to go into the school and talk to the kids about the Seal in the Bathtub as well. So it's very exciting times that this is happening, and I'm very excited for my father's work and celebrating that.
That is absolutely fabulous. So, PJ, you just do an incredible job, and I know you do so much for Gotham Whale, and hopefully there's going to be more information coming out on some sort of publication or some sort of video. So we'll see how all that plays out in the near future. Great,
yeah. So like I said, we celebrated the birthday yesterday. My friends Celia and Ken sang New York, New York with me, as you know, at Pearl Street Station. So we had a fun time with that, and can't thank all I call them the SEAL team, the people that are surrounding me, helping me support this story to get it out.
That is absolutely, absolutely fabulous, my friend. Well, one final plug for Seal in the Bathtub.
Yeah, so Seal in the Bathtub, it's the story of, my life with the seal in my bathtub, and I want to share it with as many people as I can and have a lot of fun with it. So you can follow me on my social media page, and please look for it on Amazon, and I will love to talk about it as much as you want to hear it.
And also, too, I saw the book last night, and the illustrations were absolutely beautiful. Who did those?
I'm glad you brought that up. So the illustrations are by Joy Reidenberg, and she's Dr. Joy Reidenberg, and what she does is she does a lot of work with whales and necropsies. I don't know if you know what a necropsy is, but it's like an autopsy for animals. And she does a lot of work with Mount Sinai Hospital, I think it is. But she is fascinating. She did a documentary film with National Geographic's Inside Nature's Giants, and so she's a real part of the SEAL team that she did Big Whale, Big City, and she did Seal in the Bathtub with her illustrations.
Well, PJ Seaswater, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you have your son's basketball. Go tend to that. With this segment of Health and Wellness Survival Tips with Ms. Sharon Filia meets your seal of approval.
Well, thank you for your support, and you have my seal of approval as well. Thanks, Paul, for everything you do.
Thanks, my friend. Be well, PJ.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Well, with that, we'll go to our sponsors.
Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders. Oh my God, are those seals in the bathtub?
Yeah, I think so, but no Croft.
Seals and Croft. Oh, there we go. I just thought
right
of...
to 1. Thank you.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. Shecky Solano. I just thought of Donnie and Marie, right? The show. They did a lot of work with Seals and Croft, right?
I'm not sure, but
we'll ponder that. Yeah, it's when I first heard of Seals and Croft.
Okay.
But we'll go with those of the seals in the bathtub.
Yes.
Well, again, PJC Swear to the Seal in the Bathtub. Great story, great children's book, and a great real story in life. So that's great. So we are back. As I said, thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number here is 781-837-4900. And we're caught up on time. And we have the financial wing of Olympic Proportions, sponsored by PS and All Marketing Group.
Don't forget the S.
Right, exactly. What I did was I did a search and I cut and paste, and I totally messed up on this when I copied over. So my bad. PS and All Marketing Group. I should not be reading. I should just be saying it. It flows off the tongue. And Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, with Mr. Paul Crowley of Riverworks Credit Union and Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer. And today we have Mr. Paul Crowley on the line. Paul, are you there?
Yes, I am, Paul. How are you today?
I am well, thanks. Sorry for the confusion earlier with the Pauls, but this is a show with 3 Pauls as guests, and also welcome, my friend.
It's good to be here, and no worries at all.
You got it. Well, thank you. So, Paul, I always have you give a brief bio of yourself and all the fine work you do at Riverworks Credit Union, and you always have a hot and timely topic of discussion for us to chat about.
Yeah, so, my background is I'm a trained accountant, Northeastern University grad, class of 87. Anyway, I have an expanded kind of financial background because I really didn't. I worked as a public accountant for a few years, 4 to be exact, but then I kind of branched out and got more into financial advice across the board as opposed to just accounting. So I'm both, and I do a little bit of loans, I do business advice, I do tax work, I do a lot of different things. So I have a breadth of knowledge that I hope that I can share with some of the listeners. Typically, I like to try to talk about how the residential real estate market is reacting to the macroeconomic factors of the day. And this week, since we didn't meet last week, I guess the thing that everybody's talking about, and clearly is the most significant geopolitical event that's triggering, market activity kind of would be the bombing of Iran. And that being said, I'd like to just maybe tell the folks at home a little bit about how the market has responded to those attacks in terms of the interest rates. Since people who are interested in either buying or refinancing are kind of, on the fence a little bit, or kind of waiting for things to improve before they make their move and that kind of stuff. So anyway, the interest rates prior to the attacks were coming down pretty good. It was the phones were starting to ring. We were starting to hear from people. I actually have a pipeline that I haven't had in quite a while, and all that means is I have people that are asking me to like pre-qualify them or to actually refinance and all that type of stuff. So that stuff is starting to kind of take shape, which is, a reflection of the interest rate environment improving. So what happened immediately after the U.S. attacked Iran? And it's kind of interesting because the first reaction of investors when something geopolitical like this happens is they call it a flight to quality, or flight to safety is probably more appropriate. And what they do is they want to go somewhere where they feel that their investments are safe. So, and that's usually the U.S. Treasury market. So when people start buying up U.S. Treasuries, that drops the yield on Treasuries, which in turn leads to lower interest rates, because the real estate mortgage market is tied to the Treasury yield. So when the yields go down, interest rates on mortgages go down. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's kind of the logic that goes on. So immediately everybody was doing that. But then almost immediately after that, the price of oil spiked up, which triggers fears of inflation, and fears of inflation trigger concerns that the Fed is not going to lower interest rates anytime soon. So you kind of get a reversing effect, and now the yields are actually going up, which means that mortgage rates are spiking upward as well. So what was a very strong and improving residential real estate mortgage market prior to the attack is now leading to a environment where the interest rates are creeping back up. In fact, they're, I think, 6.1%. That's probably the same rate that I quoted the last time we spoke. So it's kind of back to where it was. That being said, there's a lot of hand-wringing about what's going to happen, prolonged war, and all this kind of stuff. But I think the administration has made it pretty clear that they've got a mission, and as soon as they accomplish it, they're going to pull out. So the hope and the expectation that I have is that this interest rate spike is temporary, and we should start to see the interest rates come down pretty quickly once the U.S. stops dropping bombs all over the place.
Right, exactly. Well, at this part of the season, here we are, we're coming up on spring, and people would typically go out and start looking at homes and all. So that has to have the impact as well, right?
Yeah, if we were to carve out the geopolitical turmoil in the Middle East and like pretend it didn't happen, the idea that spring is coming, people want to start selling their homes, interest rates are showing a decline, would be, in the aggregate, a huge positive for the real estate purchase market and the refinance market and so forth. So I was looking forward to it. I think there were a lot of people that were, going out to wanted to go look at houses. And by the way, the scenario where there's one house and 20 buyers every time a house comes on the market, that's gone. It's now getting closer to an equilibrium where the stock of housing supply that's going to be available for sale is getting closer to the demand. They're kind of reaching an equilibrium, which is really what the market needs right now, so that there won't be this crazy overbidding on properties and so forth. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case going forward. But you're right, the effect of the spring, what did the Three Stooges say? When the flowers bloom in the spring, tra-la. It's
silently.
It's so now here we are, and I think that there'll be, hopefully the impact of the war or the bombing will dissipate soon because the goals are met quickly, and maybe there won't be nearly the kind of protracted, heightened alert across the countries and across the world. That's what I'm hoping for. And then we can rely on things like warm weather to bring people out to look for homes.
And, of course, we also have the Fed factor, right, as to when they meet again, what they're going to do.
Yes, they generally meet every 6 weeks, and I think this is going to be there's one more with the existing Fed guy. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
And he'd like nothing better than to ruin Donald Trump's day because they don't get along. So my guess is he won't do what the president would like to see him do, which is to lower rates. So there probably won't be a lowering this time. And he has good cover now too. He can say it can't because of the the risk of inflation and the geopolitical uncertainty and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be his cover. But make no mistake about it, it's political, I think, and he's not going to raise rates, at least in my estimation, because to do so would be good for actually good for the country, but to his point, it'd be good for the president, and he doesn't want that. That's, I guess. But so maybe not this time, but starting with the next one, I think you'll see an aggressive push because we should see you'll have the new chairman, the new Fed chairman, along with the spring, and hopefully no more bombs in Iran. So we could see 2 or 3 rate cuts throughout the course of the rest of the year. Again, these are just, most of it is, it's opinion. Just, make sure everybody at home understands that, who knows. Nobody really has a crystal ball, and you can make your best estimates and guesses based on the information that you have at your disposal. But who knows, tomorrow the information could be very different and changes everything,
Right, exactly. Then, of course, you throw in the tariff impact, the whole issue of the tariffs and the overturning of the Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing when you talk about that. And by the way, I find the fact that they, so a bunch of businesses that are in the export realm. In other words, they sell products overseas, or it's people who need to import goods for sale. So in other words, a store buys whatever, and it gets made in China, so it gets sent over here, and then they resell it. They all got very upset about the tariff and sued the Trump administration and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that they changed that, that the Supreme Court decided that it should be illegal and all that kind of stuff. I have a hard time with that. I'm very confused by that because essentially, forget about whether it's appropriate or not. The tariffs are, everybody says that the tariff gets paid by the consumer. Ultimately, everything gets paid by the consumer, whether it's a tax internally or a tax externally, whether it's the bank fees that the business carries. Every nickel that is an expense of a business gets passed on to the consumer, plus a markup. And You got to always remember that. When they talk about, tariffs are going to be bad for the consumer. Yeah, but just like everything else. And the theory is, and this is, I think, what the Treasury Department of the United States is hoping for, is that we get enough money from tariffs, external taxes, if you will, so that we don't have to have internal taxes, which would mean if the tariffs are sufficient enough to pay for all the...
If you want to hold that thought until next week, we do have to sign off because we have a new news break coming up. But I want to thank you for being on, and we will pick up this conversation next week, God willing. All righty?
Sounds good, Paul.
Thank you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. I want our listeners to stay tuned to WATD for some great music with Larry Nelson filling in for the great Ron Dwyer. I want to thank you. Thanks, Tim, Arthur, Shelley, PJ, Paul Crowley, and our advertisers. But really, thank you, listeners in Paul Ponder's World. Keep on Paul pondering. #Indeed.